Oh, construction champions, it's your host, Ron Nussbaum, and we're here for another amazing episode of Construction Champions Podcast, where we're burning the house down twice a week, every Monday and Thursday. You can find myself here, along with a rock star guest, raising the bar in the construction industry. This isn't just about everybody's like, oh, it's about having a better business. So no, you know what this is about? This is about having a better life, a better relationship with your significant other, your kids, your employees, every aspect of this. Because if any of that sucks, everything's going to suck. You just can't be a rock star in business and in construction and expect that everything's just going to fall into the way it's supposed to be. That's not how it works. And that's what being a champion is. And I'm super excited for our conversation here today. Steve, thank you for being on the show.
Well, thank you. I appreciate the energy, man. You're bringing it. This is awesome. So let's
Hey,
do it.
the construction industry has been very good to me. And I believe it deserves, if you're going to do something like this, if you're going to host a podcast and put this out here, you better just bring it. There's no reason to not be excited about it, because what we're going to talk today, and it's going to forever change somebody's life. I know that. So before we get started, why don't you tell all the champions out there a little bit about yourself and introduce yourself?
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, I'm Steve Dell'Orto, the CEO and founder of Concentric. I spent my whole career in the construction industry on the commercial side, leading a top 10 general contractor and building up a multi-billion-dollar division within that company on the West Coast. Learned a lot in the process, started as an intern actually in college and just stayed with it for the 26 years and ultimately graduated to a place where I was running the show, and the P&L responsibility, and from cradle to grave, all of that is your responsibility, and you learn a lot. What I also learned a lot about the industry was it's too far behind where it needs to be in terms of the use of technology and data, mainly to just really make things more efficient so people don't have to work so hard. And when I talk about hard, everybody's going to be hardworking no matter what, because that's just who construction people are. That doesn't mean you have to work 150% to get what should only take you a fraction of that time to get that given thing done. And I think that's just the state of where our industry, where we've let our industry be these days, is to just throw people at issues without thinking about how to make something more scalable, repeatable, and far more efficient, because that benefits everybody, the project, all the companies involved, and most particularly the people that are sacrificing their time and dedicating themselves to getting those projects built. And oftentimes, as you mentioned in your intro, that's at the expense of the families and the support network behind those people. And I think we can do a better job at that.
Absolutely, man. I agree. I love your perspective. I love the experience. This is going to be a fantastic episode. I can already tell. So I'm going to dive right in there, and I'm going to ask the $1,000,000 question. And that is, what makes a construction champion?
Introducing BuilderComms, the future of construction management. Built by industry veterans, our platform simplifies your workflows and boosts efficiency. From field operations to leadership, we've covered it all to help you sleep better and enhance your projects. With BuilderComms, expect reduced errors, save time, and exceptional outcomes. Join the thousands of builders and contractors revolutionizing their processes and achieving greatness. Discover more about us at buildercomms.com.
Well, I think to be a champion in construction, you have to be a team player. These buildings do not build themselves, and one person doesn't build it themselves. It's a team of people. And so construction champion, I think in the most purest, truest sense, is somebody who is a great teammate, a team leader, and just recognizes that construction is a team sport, and you have to be working together, not just your team working within your company, but collectively with all the stakeholders who have different needs, agendas, and outcomes for the project, but find a way to make it all work so that that building or that bridge or that tunnel or whatever it is can be successfully developed and delivered for its intended purpose. But it's about team, Ron. It's not an individual, and it's not technology. It's not any one of those things. It boils down to the humans involved.
That's absolutely true. And I love that how you bring it to all the stakeholders as well. I think that's something that's just not talked about enough, is that it's not just about the team you're on, is that construction's very unique in the perspective of there's multiple stakeholders looking for different outcomes. Like it's not just one team on a job site creating the end results. There's a lot of moving pieces to that, but all of those moving pieces have to function as a team. Like it can't be everybody versus everybody, but that's kind of what we can get into these pissing matches on job sites of who's responsible for what, who's doing what does this look like? And that doesn't benefit anybody.
No, it doesn't. And I think, where I focused in my career as a contractor, as a builder, was how do you set the table for success? And that's not just the numbers. That's how do you build the team down to the person, down to, defining the roles and responsibilities, but to do it in a way that if you pressure tested it, it's going to drive people to work together, not in a divergent fashion. And so I think, I've spoken a lot, and when, I talk, I'm always talking about certainty of outcome. I'm always talking about setting the table for success. And a lot of people think that might be just like, how do you structure a deal, or how are you building up the estimate or the plan for the project? But it's way more than that, because you're bringing people together, but all those people work for different companies, and those different companies have a role and a place in the greater organization of how do you build and deliver that project. And I think if you start from a place where everybody is a subject matter expert bringing something unique to the table, whether it's a particular trade or whether it's a particular element of the design, they're all there to contribute. And you need to be able to bring people together and let them contribute what, their expertise. Because if you can tap all of that, then you've got a winning solution. But again, you have to understand and respect the organizations and what they're trying to achieve, but then also thinking down to the individual and the humans about how you're going to motivate positive behaviors, bringing people together to share, to collaborate, and all of those things to make that project successful.
Yeah. It's interesting because a lot of that stuff is what gets forgotten. Like you can get the experts all sitting at the table, and that can end up creating an environment where everybody else does not have a really good experience on that job site, because it can be about the construction industry. We're pretty frank on this show, where I call us a spade is we can really have an ego problem. And that ego problem can cause more problems on the job site than anything else. And if we would just let go of that and understand, like what you started with, is this is a team event. Like every project is a team deal, and it's not going to be one individual that makes it or breaks it.
Right. But it also, Ron, the communication aspect of the industry is, I don't want to say it's the biggest problem, but I think it is one of the, say, sources of when you do have problems. It gets down to how people are communicating and what they're communicating with. And I found, just observing through decades of experience, you get people around a table and they're trying to just verbally convey their understanding of what was either said before, or what a detail looked like in the drawings, or whatever. It's just all verbal. And nobody has anything at their fingertips to point to say, no, come on, let's ground this conversation in facts. Let's ground this conversation into the very data that we've all been cultivating. And so this is where I get to this like single source of truth. And, a picture is worth 1,000 words. And when we can get to a place where we can actually, at our fingertips, have people communicate with referenceable information and details, etc., we're going to eliminate a lot of that stuff, because all of that are typically two parties, arguing over their version of the truth. And when in fact that truth is tangible, it's accessible, it's right there, you eliminate all the gray area. And it's not going to solve all the problems or all the communication problems, but it's going to solve a lot of them, because a lot of those debates and arguments, and God forbid it goes into claim and more formal litigation, it all stems from misunderstandings at the very beginning. And then the problem just compounds itself, because guess what? The project is always under a delivery and time pressure. And, you just, you can't let it overtake things, because you have to keep everything progressing. And that just adds, fuel to the fire, which is no good.
Yeah, and I think 30% of construction projects end in a dispute. So like that's the clarity that we have to offer. One of the things that excites me about our conversation here today is we're very comparable in what we do. We just do it for two different sectors of the construction industry. I focus on the residential side of things. You guys focus on the commercial, but at the core of it is we're both trying to create that single point of truth on a project. Like, did this happen? How did this happen? What does the documentation look like? And I feel like that is so important in construction. And I spent 13 years in residential construction and came to this conclusion. You said 26 or 28 years in construction and came to the same conclusion to be doing what you're doing now, because communication and how we communicate in the construction industry is a problem.
Yeah. And it's not just the look back and figuring out who said what. It's really, how do you communicate more effectively to avoid those debates altogether? Because if you can communicate more clearly in terms of what are the expectations, where are we going, what is the plan, you pave the way for success far more effectively than if you're communicating in a way just to cover your ass.
Industry standard right there is cover your ass. Like that is how we communicate in the construction industry, instead of just proactively hashing it out, which is what everybody wants. That's why I don't understand why so many people are afraid to just have these conversations between different stakeholders, the customer, the client, they just want to have these conversations.
Yeah.
But we're like, nah, we're not having them. We'll wait until shit hits the fan. And to me, like, that's like, why?
Right.
Why do we do that?
Right. It's maddening.
So how are you guys helping the industry? Like, can you kind of explain some of that for our listeners out there, what that looks like, how you guys are helping the industry overcome these problems, and how you guys best serve the industry? I guess that's a two-part question there.
Yeah. And, I was with a friend of mine who is COO of a large, very accomplished general contractor. And so he's very operations focused. He's managing the projects that are being built. But he said, I know 80% of the fate of my projects is determined in the front end planning of the project. And, that speaks to what I left my career leading, a major general contractor to go start up a technology company, because planning's everything, and you can't go build those buildings or highways or tunnels by the seat of your pants. You have to have a plan. And the more thought out and develop that plan, the better the outcome is going to be, the smoother of an experience it's going to be for everybody. But it's the least invested in segment of what we do. And I talk about least invested, I'm talking about people, the pre-construction professionals, the estimators, the folks that are engaging with the design team, engaging with the owner to define what it is that we want to design and then ultimately build. And so they're the compared to the people managing the projects in construction with the steel swinging, the concrete being poured, they're very underappreciated. Yet these are the people that are having to go from like literally no information in this abstract world and then slowly develop alongside the design team a budget and a design that are all converging to what the owner can ultimately afford. And so I think that position deserves to be significantly more recognized and celebrated, on top of the fact that, you know, the challenges that the construction industry is facing is you have just fewer people in the industry to handle the volume of work that needs to be built. And that's only going to increase because our population is increasing, and you're going to need more roads and houses and schools and hospitals. Yet we have fewer people in quantity and then experience levels to handle that growing volume. So that's a problem for the industry. And I think also that communication and collaboration, people want to do it, but they just don't have the tools and the systems available to really do it in an efficient manner. And so what we're solving is really, how do we make the process easier for people to make better, smarter, more informed decisions a lot quicker, and to get the consensus or the buy-in that they need. Again, with their work and the output coming out of what they're doing, you have to be able to, I need to be able to share that with you, but recognizing that you're going to digest or need to digest that information in a different way than I think. So how do we make this to where everybody can really understand, you know, the information, the decisions in play, all of those things, so you can move through this process with predictability, with trust and transparency, and do it in a way that you don't have people working, you know, 30 hours a day to get that work done. And so that applies to any type of project, whether it's a residential project, whether it's a hospital project, whether it's, it doesn't matter. You're bringing people together that are working exceptionally hard, but they just don't really have any tools. And I thought, you know, I could keep building projects and putting together teams and trying to find, you know, build the best, you know, A+ teams I could create to go solve, you know, the, you know, to solve the needs to effectively build the buildings that we were building, but it's just not scalable. And the only thing that I could come around to was the problems that exist that manifest themselves in the construction phase of the project can be eliminated, and the balance or imbalance of the work effort that is, you know, being borne by the professionals doing that work can be greatly rebalanced with technology. And when you look at it, you go, man, our business is complicated. There are a lot of moving parts. This is very nuanced, very complex, whether it's the planning or the execution phase, it's very unique. And so is our industry going to be better if we have people from outside of the industry building technology that we have to then force fit into our industry? Or, man, is this an opportunity for a builder like myself to go build a platform for fellow builders in a way that I've walked in their shoes, you know, I know how to do this. And if we could build, you know, a platform that really is specifically built for their unique needs, everybody wins. And so that's what I set out to do.
I love it, man. And I absolutely agree, is construction technology should be built by people from the construction industry. It's one of the things that got me in the position I'm in, because I just got aggravated with software that wasn't built for us. And then, like you said, you got to patch it together to try to make it work, and it always falls short. And why? Like, there's no reason. Like, we're capable of going and building these buildings. Like, we're also capable of building the software that's used. We just get pigeonholed that we're not. And I love that. I think what you're doing is amazing. And like, they're just, I'm starting to run into more people like you and myself that are guys that just came from the industry that just said, damn it, there's no reason why we shouldn't go do this. Like, we're the only ones that can truly solve the problem. You're the only one that can truly solve this problem because you understand it. So in 26 years of dealing with it, like, there's anybody writing code or anybody that's just creating a software will never understand the nuances how you understand them. And that's why your software will have a huge impact on the construction industry.
Yeah, we have a network of folks that I work with closely that have themselves left the industry, left being a contractor to go build some form of technology to solve the problems that they were facing that they just got sick of dealing with. And that network has evolved into what we refer to. It's the Built by Builders network, and it's for us, it's our ability to band together as fellow builders, and also then for the customer and the market at large to be able to say, hey, look, I'm in search of technology to solve a particular pain point. Let's make this decision really easy. Do you want to buy something off the shelf or something built by people that haven't walked in our shoes? Or is there a safer bet to, buy whatever service or technology from somebody that is a fellow builder and that has walked in my shoes? So it ought to make the decision pretty damn easy, if you ask me.
You would think. I mean,
You would think.
that's why I love having guys like you on the show that can talk into this, because this is, for everybody listening out there, like, this is what matters, is like, so not just supporting the industry, but like, we're so far behind in technology adaption. And to me, I feel like a lot of that is because the industry got jaded. Like, there was a lot of great solutions. They weren't great solutions. They were pitched as great solutions in the early days. And as an industry, we are early adapters. Like, we want the latest, greatest. We want the newest tool, the newest truck. And there was a lot of guys that jumped on that technology bandwagon to begin with and got jaded because the software it was nowhere near what the construction industry needed. And now here we are in a state where adaption's lagging so much because of that. And we really need technology to come in and help fix a lot of the shortfalls and shortcomings of the construction industry. Can easily be fixed with a technology like yours that allows scalability that you can't get with just people. And
Right. No, and you brought up, I mean, the industry has, did get jaded because we did get technology thrown at us that didn't fit our unique needs. I remember I was in charge of a major development in downtown LA, and we had a team of 35, 40, project managers, superintendents, et cetera, building this big mega development. And as I would walk, we had kind of an open uh, footprint office. And so as I'm just walking around, I'm watching all of our young project engineers and project managers just like literally head in the computer, just constantly typing and entering in information. And after a while, I'm like, what the hell's going on? I mean, are we a construction company or what, are we writing code over here? And it didn't make sense to me. But then as I was watching what they were doing, I was like, damn it, this software is supposed to accelerate things and make less work for us, not more. But if you literally stood there with a stopwatch or a counter and said, okay, the old way that we were doing it before this piece of software in particular, it would have been like 5 steps. Now this thing is making us do 8. Why are we taking on 3 additional steps? It ought to be the reverse. And so for me, that always stuck with me. I was like, you project engineer are just entering in data to generate reports, to have something handy for a meeting, to inform somebody about something of a problem, or go out in the field and figure out what the tradespeople are up against, ask them what the problem is before it becomes a problem, and then go spend that time eliminating the problem altogether. Therefore, you don't have to type all that stuff into the computer. So it was just, where do you spend your time? And if we're create software and technology that's just going to consume people's time, we're taking this in the wrong direction. Started Concentric, one of our major mantras is make less work, not more. And so everything that we do is about, okay, it's currently going to look like this, click, 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 or this, that, and the other. our platform needs to do it in a fraction of the steps. We need to be saving people time. We need to be making them more efficient. We need to have our software do things on their behalf to free up their time. And that's what we work very hard at. It's a lot harder than you would think, but nothing leaves the door, if you will, that adds a step. It's gotta be reductive in terms of eliminating effort and saving people's time, because that's what we're in the business of doing, is creating more bandwidth out of the resources that you have through efficiency, automation, and driving unnecessary wasteful stuff out of your everyday, workflow.
I love that, man. And that experience is why you guys are doing great things to today. I absolutely love that. So for all the construction champions that are out here listening today, where's the best places to connect with you, learn more about what you guys do, or just follow you?
Well, LinkedIn, reach out to me through LinkedIn. Would love to connect with you. If, you're interested in Concentric and the platform, you can also come to our website, Concentric, ConCntric.com. Book a demo and we can show you everything that we're doing. And it'd be great to meet you. So those are the best ways to get in touch with us to learn more.
Awesome, man. Well, thank you for spending some time here with us today.
Appreciate it, Ron. This was great. I appreciate what you're doing, really providing a voice to the industry and addressing and tackling whatever topic comes up. So it's fantastic.
I love it, man. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. So, Construction Champions, another episode in the bag, where Steve brought all kinds of great points. From this isn't an individual sport. This is a team event. Every project, there's multiple players. There might be players that are better than other players, but isn't that a champion? Is somebody that brings everybody along, that creates a cohesive environment? Think about what the champions were like in the All-Star game, where there's tons of All-Stars. The true champions on those teams rallied everybody and made great outcomes happen. And then we talked about software, and software being built by the construction industry, by guys, and not even by the construction industry. I got to stop using that terminology, because it's not the industry that's building it. It's people that have the industry experience that just finally said no more. It's going to be fixed. When Steve tells that story about first implementing software and walking around the project, and everybody's just out there putting data points in, and it's adding steps to a project, and then crafting the vision around what he's doing now, that everything we do has to eliminate a step. To me, that's powerful. Construction software should be made for the construction industry by people that have walked the job site. I think it's a lot easier to take software that's specifically made for construction and take it to other industries. But it's been ass backwards, is what they've done, is they've taken software from other industries and tried to make it work in construction. And that's all changing. Like Steve said, he's part of a group of people that are changing that. That word of big box solutions made by somebody that's never put a boot on or stepped onto a job site's going away. And that is one of the best things that can happen for the construction industry. And it's time as an industry, we start to go back to adapting technology. Whatever that looks like for your business, you should be out there testing different things. Find out what software works best for your business and makes you more efficient. So, Construction Champions, make sure you check out all of our great sponsors. And until next time, be the champion you're meant to be.
Introducing BuilderComms, the construction communication software that's changing the game. Say goodbye to communication challenges and hello to effortless communication. With BuilderComms, you can communicate with clients, share pictures, videos, and documents, and keep clients informed about the progress of their projects. Get real-time updates, prevent miscommunications and delays, and ensure successful projects. Don't let bad communication ruin your construction projects. Try BuilderComms today. Visit us at buildercomms.com.